Hello, this is Greg Allison coming to you on the night of the 4th of September, 2020, on the eve of what might be a massive wave of protest. Might be. Now, as this will happen, this group called Refuse Fascism is planning for tomorrow 26 protests in cities across the United States. And I'm going to show you these cities in a moment. Will this be peaceful? So what they're calling for actually is 60-day campaign of protest. So I can read it from the website. It says, on the 5th of September, we must make a living declaration to the world that we are uniting and we are organized, we're determined, and we're prepared to struggle with all we've got starting now and not stopping until Trump/Pence regime is driven from power and its fascist programs are brought to a halt. Well, 60 days? Yeah, it says, read and share a vision for September 5th and 60 days of struggle. Of course, the election's on the 3rd of November. We know that's not exactly 60 days. Are they planning to run through the 4th of November? Maybe the 5th? Remember, the 5th of November as in the movie Vengeance. Oh, we could say we might remember the 5th of September. So what's really going to happen here? They actually have planned for this to be in 26 cities. Now, this group is not Antifa. It is not BLM. Will Antifa and BLM join with them? Probably. Maybe. Will other groups join with them? The NFAU, whatever that group is. I don't know. We've not heard so much from them, it seems, since they had their big march and shot one of their own by accident because somebody did not understand proper protocol for handling things. So I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to show you, though, a moment here, the list of cities. Let me scroll down to that, and I'll pop it up. Give me a second. So now you're going to see the cities in question. This is what y'all were asking me for last. And here it is. Next. I'll scroll on. And of course, we start with some of the big suspects. And some of these cities aren't in the list of the 25 biggest cities. That's why Alabama's in here. That's why I'm ranking the top 100. It will soon, though. It's fast-growing city. New York City, Atlanta, Aurora, Illinois, Baltimore, Boston, Chicago, Cleveland, Charlotte, Detroit, Rock City, Honolulu, Houston, Huntsville, Alabama, Inverness, Florida. Is that a big city? I don't know about that. Kansas City, Missouri, Lansing, Michigan, Los Angeles, Orlando, Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, Portland, Oregon, San Diego, San Francisco, Santa Clarita, California, Seattle, St. Louis, Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Washington, D.C. is on this list too. So there's your cities that they're planning. It says United Mass Protest. Well, I don't know how large this group is. And if this is just this group, will the protests be large at all? Apparently, they've already organized these protests. They've got times. So apparently, they've registered these with the city. I suppose they have. And you can see here the times and the places. 4:30 p.m., Marshall Park, sign up and share event. Sign up and share Facebook event. So, some of these are out there. You can sign up and share them. No, I'm not asking you to do that. I'm just telling you what they have here on their site. The purpose of this video is to tell you to be ready, to be prepared, just in case these go out of hand, in case they convert from peaceful protest to something else. There has been a history of that of late, although it may be backfiring on them. Maybe they will learn better. I understand there have been a number of arrests made of certain individuals. Now, will that quell this fire, or will it fan the flames? We shall see soon. A lot of people have a lot of trepidation, a lot of concern leading up to election that there would be mass mayhem leading up to it, and maybe after election, and maybe from either side after election. Now, I will tell you, as I've always told you, that according to our Constitution of the United States, you all have the right to assemble and file grievances and have peaceful protests. So it comes in Amendment 1 of the First Amendment, the Bill of Rights. And of course, it starts with the Congress, in religion. It says, Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or the press or the right of the people to peaceably assemble and to petition to petition the government for redress of grievances. And just so you won't think that Greg Ellison is making all this up, there it is. Look it up, First Amendment. That's supposedly the law of the land. Of course, some of these other things are supposedly the law of the land, and they seem to be quite ignored. So, again, the key word there is peaceful. Anybody that's got a grievance has the right to do these things. This includes any grievance, any side of the political spectrum. We all have the right to stand on a soapbox and say what we think. I have the right to stand on a post box and say, Papa Smurf will be president of the universe. Or Papa Smurf, yeah, I'm just having a little fun. But I do, I got that right. Now, that doesn't mean that people laugh at me and think I'm silly for such things, of course. You have a right to be silly and laughed at, and people think you're a lunatic. If you're so inclined toward that, and you have the right to make a lot of sense and persuade people to do something that's good. Let's hope that's what people do. But the point of it is that you have the right to stand up and say whatever it is that you want to say. And that's the way it should be. Everyone should have these rights. And it's through the free discourse of ideas in the marketplace of ideas that we make our traction, that we gain traction. And if there is a particular majority that you feel you're being stymied by, then there's other things that, other ways to redress that. And by the way, for a lot of people that don't know, the whole idea of the electoral college was so you wouldn't have a tyranny of a majority by the big states over the little states. And that's also why we have a Senate that has the same number of representatives in each state. There was a lot of concern in the Founding Fathers' days of tyrannies of majority. And of course, there are many of those who would today argue that indeed they had a tyranny of majority. Some people said it was all white privilege, and some people have even said the Constitution was written just for that. If you read his founding documents, that's not what they say. If you read the Declaration of Independence, now surely the Declaration of Independence was not fully implemented as written, but we grew into it more and more, and we have over time. And that's the beauty of it. It has enabled us to do it. It set the thought forms. When we say in the second paragraph of the Declaration of Independence, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. Said all men. Didn't say men with purple noses or pointy ears, or whatever else you want to say. And endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. And among these are life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. And it goes on and on. I won't go on and on. But the whole point is that we do have certain rights. There is validity to this. We don't really follow this day. This is one of our problems in our society. We've allowed bureaucracy to have creep. We've allowed the deep states to grow in power. I've told you many times that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. The birds of a feather flock together, and who has the goal makes through. These three things put together will always lead to tyranny in any society unless there's ample checks and balances to stop it. And one-party societies of any kind of flavor are the worst to give you a tyranny, and eventually any one-party society will give you a tyranny. And many societies exist, and they can only exist when they're the only party in charge. Why? Because people normally wouldn't accept what they put out unless they're forced to. And as these are often the parties of isms, socialism, communism, especially the communism and fascism, that versions of the isms. And they're both on the socialist scale, and they're both totalitarian. It's just they implement it in different ways. Now, sometimes one country will change from one form to the other, but retain the name of the former form. Like the CCP, you know what I mean. I talked about that. Now, again, Greg, why are we talking about this stuff? What is this all about? I'm here telling you you got to be careful when you're out there tomorrow and the rest of this month, the next month, that there are indeed these groups that have these events scheduled here. These events are on the calendar, and I don't know, they may be all peaceful events. If they are, that's all well and good. Now, if they are engaging in things that are illegal, that's not well and good. Two wrongs does not make a right. And it's the language of civil war. If you think because a person's this or that they're not human, that you've got the right to harm them, to do bad things to them, because of this or that, that is not right. Two wrongs does not make a right, and that is not that is the language of civil war, the dehumanization of one side or the other. People believe what they believe, and I have talked about this. This is why I have talked about rose-colored glasses. You have to consider the worldview of the other person. I'm not saying you got to accept it, but you can't even have a hope of winning them over to your way of thinking if you don't understand from whence they come. A lot of these people, whichever side you're on, you need to know that there's people on the other side who are legitimately good people. They have good hearts. They just have a different ideology, a different worldview, and they think they are right, be they right or not. The point is, a lot of these people think they're right, and often, and when you have rose-colored glasses on, you take in information to reinforce that which you already believe, and often you kind of trivialize things that go against things that you probably ought not trivialize, kind of overlook a few things that you might not overlook, and that's how societies evolve in bad directions, and why they allow things to be done that normal humans will not allow to be done. And that happens on either side of the political spectrum. Any side of any political spectrum. This is how humans dehumanize other people, and they attack. So that is not a good thing. We have been divided in this country. What a lot of you don't realize, you see email every day. You get messages, text messages, you see ads, you get videos recommended to you by Facebook and YouTube and other social medias. They recommend to you the things that you've been watching or how they think you believe. And that further reinforces it, makes it easier for you to wear those rose-colored glasses, and makes the tent get deeper and deeper, because you tend to only see those things that are in comportment with what you already believe or think. And so that just reinforces your tent and makes it even darker. And it divides our society more and more. You know, I think we may be on a collision course. A lot of people say we're heading to civil war. A lot of people say it's unavoidable this time. And they may be right. I will tell each and every one of you, no matter where you're at, you have the right to defend yourself, your family, and your property. And for those of you that think it's okay to attack those things, bear that in mind, and do not forget that people have those rights, and they will exercise them. It's not a good thing to go out of your community, though, and seek to make trouble in other communities, which is often happening today on either side. You do have the right to defend your community. You got to live in it. I mean, you use the resources of your community. If you don't have the stores and the shops you can't go to, you can't get your medicines and the things that you need to live out your daily lives, you got a problem. So I don't blame people for defending their communities. Now, if you notice, I haven't said a thing that takes a side on either side, but people will construe everything I say according to the rose-colored glasses they're wearing on either side. So look at this list. My point is that you have to be careful. I'm asking you, if you are involved in these things, to gauge how you engage, to be peaceable, to make whatever point you feel is important to make, but to do so in a peaceable manner, and to try to calm those down that would go too far. But you might be better served to stay the heck away from all of this, because there's a lot of potential for people to get hurt. And why be involved in it in the first place, unless your community is at stake, your property is at stake. You feel your rights are at stake, then yeah, you have the right for peaceable assembly to file for grievances, for redress of whatever it is that you feel you're not righted by. Now, some people feel like that process hasn't been working. Well, guess what? You can get hurt. But here's the other thing. A lot of what is being done today is going to backfire big on the people doing it. Because here's what's happening. You know, for example, this group here believes they're going to bring Trump out of the White House. they probably just absolutely have ensured he will be elected in a landslide victory. And they probably even have ensured that he may even gain the House of Representatives and mayorships and governorships all across the United States. Because all in all, I know this. I know that people that have been involved in this, people who have seen this, and people who have been in the cities, I've had people from Portland tell me, oh, I've been to all these protests, and they were absolutely peaceful. I've had people in Kenosha. My tongue isn't quite there, but tell me, oh, that was peaceful. I was there. Nothing happened. It was peaceful. Oh, okay. Some cop cars, but that was it. No property destroyed. Cop cars are property, but okay. Well, what about all the pictures of the businesses? What about the people that got attacked, hit, and then the bang bangs? Yeah, I think things got out of hand. And there's a lot of people who get hurt when things get out of hand. And passions run high, and people get irrational, and mob rule takes effect. That's when somebody can say, oh, he's of this or he's of that, and somebody turns around and does something unspeakable. You don't need to be around that unless you have to be there, or you feel like you absolutely have to be there. If you get that feeling, I just ask that you have a cool head about it. We don't need a civil war in this country. I've said that many times. I am a buff of what I call the war between the states. I've always loved to study that war since I was a kid. Because when I was a kid, I could talk to old people that tell me stories about their aunts and uncles and their parents and what they told them when things were going down. It's not what I read in any of the history books. The stories they tell me are different. And I'm talking about stories I got from scads of people. But that's neither here nor there. I did find them to be interesting. I was always interested in what the old folks had to say. So when I was a kid, I spent a lot of time with the old folks. Old folks had a lot of wisdom. They had a lot they can teach you. Kids would play, but you could learn talking to old folks. And I found that highly fascinating when I was a kid. Far better than playing. My nickname when I was in high school my nickname in second grade, third grade, was the mad scientist. That was my nickname. Yes, I was highly fascinated by science. Also nature. And even back then when My Side of the Mountain came out, I loved it. Jeremiah Johnson, oh yeah, I loved that. I built a Huff and Drop about it. I used to camp out a lot. Spent a lot of time outdoors growing up. I had Yule Gibbons books, Stalking the Wild Asparagus when I was a kid. So yeah, I've been into wild edibles since I was a kid. That's why I bring you stories on that. The proposition of my channel is to help you survive, thrive, and stay out of the hive. That's where they want to take us. And see, that's why I think a lot of people are being played. I believe these things and these events are to invoke the kind of deep state they really want in the end. Whichever party is in power, it's the deep state. They want more control, more power over you. A bigger government. Bigger government is not the answer. Look at China. If China were such a wonderful government, like so many of our young students and people in this country think today, then why is Hong Kong not saying, come get us? Oh my gosh, we can't wait to be reunited. Same with Taiwan and many other places. Why were people running to get out of the Soviet Union? Why does North Korea have their, all these places have their walls and their DMZs, and it's to hold the people in. People in the United States are trying to get in here. Other countries, people are trying to get out of. Look at the failed state of Venezuela. Oh, it's because of corruption. That's why Venezuela's about. Yeah, well, what did I say about one party governments? What did I say about the corruption? What did I say about absolute power corrupts absolutely? Birds of a feather flock together, and who got the goal makes the rule. I mean, you see these things. These are the principles at play. I mean, I've had people try to explain these things away. No, it's this, it's that stuff. No, it fits perfectly. And it always does. Yeah, you can have a benevolent founder, a guy who had a vision, sets a country up. Maybe he is a dictator at first. Maybe he's benevolent enough that he can kind of sort of keep it going that way. George Washington would not serve more than 2 terms as president of the United States. They tried to make him a king, he wouldn't have it. That's the best thing that ever happened to the United States, was he did not go down that pathway. He probably could have, since especially he had been the commander of the army. And you had, I think Kenyatta in Africa was an interesting founder. A lot of people have, the fatherly or motherly concepts when they start a country or an organization, and they really want to see the best for it. Their successors are usually a bit different. And sometimes they are too. And they fall in that trap of power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolute. Because you let them go, oh yeah, but this guy did this and that one did that. After they were power, well, yeah, well, that's what happens, my friends. Power is very addictive. Corruption is very corrosive. It's like a malignancy. It's like a cancer. It spreads. So that's why I'm telling you these things. I'm just telling you so that you know that there are events coming. Whether it's this organization, Refuse Fascism, or it's any other organization out there, pre or post election, there's going to be a lot of passion, a lot of tension. There's going to be a lot of emotion out there. The country is extremely divided. It has the potential to be a powder keg to go boom, big time. We could have a civil war. It's my hope that we won't. I do think there's a chance all this will fizzle out. Once people realize that some of the moves are making are backfiring, that maybe they're feeling like they're getting played, maybe they will stay home. Or maybe it will change and moderate their reaction, So I think a lot of people are putting their lives at risk for things that will blow over in a few months. And they need to think about that. Or in a few years. Over time, things evolve and change. What we need is a good discourse in this country, good discussions. But I am a person who believes in freedom. And I'm willing to do whatever I can and have to do to maintain freedom. I believe in all the rights. Some people think, oh, we can't have all these rights because these rights create social injustice. No, that's wrong. You got your head full of mush if you believe that, because these are the ways that enable you to strive toward that. I've known guys who come to the United States, didn't speak a word of our language. They came here as immigrants. And while they were here with nothing, come to this country with nothing, turned around, and because they were industrious, because they tried, because they were interested, they built business. They invested, they worked hard, they learned the language. They had a huge handicap coming here, not knowing the language in the first place and being alien to the culture. Yet I know some of these guys who made it big. They made it really big. Some of them just got, successful in their career, whatever they did when they were happy and well placed. Some of them made it really big. Some are rich. So, there's a lot of possibility. It's really up to you what you make of it. Now, I know I'm going to get all kind of comments. Oh, great, but we can't do that today because of this, because of that, because blah, 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 blah. I get those comments. There are people who succeed well in the worst of circumstances. You just got to have your eyes open and head on a swivel to find the opportunities or to see the dangers coming at you. Avoid the dangers and take the opportunities. There's always opportunities, but they may be getting less and less because the way it's happening now is they're trying to force a lot of small businesses out of business. That's why I tell people to vote with their dollar. And we've got to not empower the globalist. So for those of you that may know, I have started an organization called the Freedom Restoration Foundation, the Freedom Restoration Foundation. And I'm going to set up a website. I've got the name reserved. Just haven't done it yet. I'm a busy puppy. But for right now, you can email me, hal5space@AOL.com, and put the word freedom in the title, and we'll respond to it. And we'll collect your name. We already have people all over the United States, and we're busy writing letters because there's some things that we just do not support being mandatory, if you know what I mean. And there's some things that we have a lot of rights that have been trampled on. Our motto is don't tread on freedom. Like, don't tread on me. Like if I'm on the Gadsden flag, well, don't tread on freedom. We want to see a restoration, bringing things back. That's our goal. And they include every freedom in that document, which includes also the Ninth Amendment, which is freedoms not enumerated in that document. So take that to heart. That's what we want to do. I'm being down, you know, hey, trying to be chill here. I don't know how long I can always maintain the chill, you know, position. I might get forced out of it. Like I said, I'll take care of business when I have to take care of business. But right now, we need to try to avoid the Civil War by any means possible, well, as much as we can. Doesn't mean get run over. Does not mean that. But we need to try to appeal to people from the other side, at least to try to get some reason in our society and our world. And most of all, I hope y'all all be safe during this time. We've got very dangerous times ahead of us. I'm afraid they're going to get worse. You know, we got this civil strife inside of our country right now, major civil strife. But outside of our country, we got other threats. We've got global threats. We've got to worry about China right now and what they might do. Even Russia. I'll admit, maybe we shouldn't have had to worry about that if we'd made the right arrangements up front, but we didn't. And so we have to be concerned for now about that. I still think we could change a lot of these things down the road. We've got to be concerned about the environment. And here, what I'm really thinking is grand solar minimum. But right now, we know we're having floods. We know that our economy is on a crash course right now. The steps taken, the things that have done, our businesses have been slaughtered. There's going to be a huge adjustment, and that's going to be a real downturn. And then there are some that claim they got the big solutions for all. So yeah, we got the great reset coming. That scares me more than anything. You know what really scares me? It's that big solution they got for us. That's the hive. Remember what the proposition of my channel is? If you survive, thrive, and stay out of the hive. I smell a hive coming, big time. Whether it be neural lace, your cell phone, social credit score system like has been instituted by the CCP. These are things that are not intended for freedom for you and me. And what I say I'm about, freedom. So, guys, with all this stuff coming at us, I am anticipating huge food shortages. I'm expecting prices to skyrocket, and we may lose our power grid. If we do, we may not get it back. We may find ourselves in Stone Age in this country because we are what stands in the way of globalism. So I would say get ready, prepare. And so go to prepwithgreg.com. Prepwithgreg.com. Right now you can get $100 off. $197 is the current price for just a 4-week supply of food for one person, 2,000 calories a day. With great, wonderful meals, you can get breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And here they are, bam, 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 breakfast, lunch, dinner. And you got also desserts and drinks, 2,000 calories a day. That price, shoot, I spend a lot more than that in a month. Whether I'm getting 2,000 calories or not, you know. And it comes in a real easy, handy to carry carrying case. I mean, see that two carrying cases, carries it around. I mean, I can put that in a van or truck. I can move it easy. Should you have to bug out. So it's a great deal. You can't beat it. Prepwithgreg.com. Check it out. And you need to grow your own garden, so go to True Leaf Market. Link on my channels, on my videos. Go check that out. I won't stop to share. So the bottom line is that things can get really bad really fast, and they might stay bad for a long time, and it could go far worse. Or, of course, it might fizzle out because it's backfiring. I think already people have seen what a lot of these things mean. And even though to some people, some rose-colored glasses, some things may look fine. Hey, it's all good. It's all peace. There's no problem. What's the problem? It's all good stuff. That's how some people look at it. Well, other people are looking at it and going, I don't want none of that. You know what I mean? So I think all this stuff is backfiring. And people are going to have to really think about, you know, what's happening. There are certain long-term trends in this country. Our demographics are changing, and our politics will change accordingly. And some of us may consider what that means for us. And some of us, sometime down the road, if our rights, we consider that we're going to lose our rights, we might decide we just don't want to be any part of the game. What does that mean? What happens then? So there's a lot of A lot of questions in the future as this country goes forward. There'll be a lot of debate. I hope I can bring you a level-headed perspective on it as we go down the road. I hope we can keep it sane. I hope we can keep it real without people going crazy, without the emotion, without people hurting each other. Hopefully we can bring them to some sane discourse. And if we have to agree to disagree, maybe we can do that. But maybe agreeing to disagree may go in two different directions. Why is it that one people always has to hold on to and control another people, like the Basque, Quebec, Taiwan? Oh, they're ours. We got to have them. They're ours. We can't do, they can't go loose. I got them right here. I got to hold them. They can't go nowhere because they're mine. They're mine, my precious. That's what people, that's nuts. People have a right to self-determination. People have a right to freedom. And that is neither. And I do not support that. I do not support one people holding another people against their will, whether it be Tibet, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Xinjiang, that's the province the leaders are from, that open-air prison that it is, or be other places in other towns, the Basque, Scotland. There are peoples who don't want to be a part of what they're in. They should have the referendum and choose. Now, if they choose to stay, okay. There's usually a division. Like you take Puerto Rico, there's always a third wants to be an independent country, a third wants to stay a territory, a third wants to become a state. And it always seems like it's always a third each, so they always wind up the status quo. Oh well, so there it goes. But if you get enough people that are really over one way or another, they should have the freedom to choose. I believe in that, the freedom to choose. That is freedom. I'm about freedom, and I think that's important. If I don't think even in the United States that we have the right to absolutely just hold a state. It's mine. It's my precious. No, if they really feel like they need to go, let them go. That's what I believe. Now, I would hope that we could find enough common ground and common reason that we can find rules to stay engaged in some form, maybe an economic union or the United States. Well, ultimately, I believe the ultimate human government is the tribe. I think nations are a perversion of human governments. I really do. I think they lead to all kind of consternation and power plays to develop. But tribes have got to be really thought where you can't have all the little warlords and stuff either. So we've got to really think through these things. How do you arbitrate things and have a civil society? These are things that we need to solve. These are things we need to work out. But what we most importantly got to do is learn to get along. Because if we don't, we will not survive as a species. See my video and you can have a pot. I'll explain it there. We cannot survive if we don't learn to get along. There's good people everywhere in the world. And often they think other things. They have a different worldview. And, maybe they're not right, but it is what they believe. So how do you get them to switch around? Is your worldview right? Is my worldview right? That's why it's important to try to wear the rose-colored glasses of the other people. Try to see it as they see it. And, it's an amazing experience. Get yourself out of yourself and look at the way you see things and look at yourself objectively from the outside. Can you do that? That's almost impossible with it. But you can work at it. So there you go. None of us are perfect. But we're all human. We all have hearts, unless you're a sociopath or a psychopath. And those are distributed across all races, creeds, and colors. And unfortunately, these rise to the top in governments. And what do I say about governments? That's why we have to have good checks and balances, my friend. All right, I've said enough. This has gone long. The purpose of this video is to call attention, once again, to what's coming up and to tell you to be careful. By the time most of your people are seeing this, it's already the day of the 5th. This stuff is going down. So you need to look around and watch where you go and be safe. Try not to straggle into these areas. Try to know, it's good to know where these things are at. Go back to this list and I'll tell you where to find this. And we'll share it again. a second, I'll go back here. This is the list of cities, and the website is refusefascism.org. I would try to stay. This tells you exactly, he sees at least where these things are to start. It doesn't mean they won't move, but doesn't mean they won't try to take the city over, a few city blocks, and things won't happen there. Maybe not. I kind of think this group isn't as big as some of the others. They may bring other groups into it as their front page there. I don't know if that's them or they just took a picture of some other group. Well, no, I guess that is them. It's got their banner there. Okay. So they have had a rally already. They've been doing some of this stuff. Everyone, everywhere, everyone. Was that a Trump supporters? That's everyone. I mean, just look at the words. Line 60 days of struggle. It does say nonviolent. Every day, you know, they do it. Mass nonviolent protest every day. Well, now I think it'll be nonviolent. Okay, fine, they got the right. But, you know, what's going to happen when all the emotions are out there? You got to be careful. I would say you may want to steer clear of these places. You may want to stay far away. So just keep that in mind, especially if you got your kids and little ones with you. Young people ought not be exposed to things where there could be violence. Now, if you know the organizers and you already know what's going to happen, if you know some other people aren't going to jump, so the problem is if you are the person organizing this and you're all going to show up wearing flower pants and carrying bunny rabbits, it's fine and good. But you don't know who else to show up. That's the problem. That's the problem. Oh yeah, be careful with bunny rabbits. They can bite and kick and get away. So I do raise rabbits. So they're furry, they are cute, right? And if I wanted to be a rich man, I would do a channel on bunny rabbits instead of these topics. You know, go look at the video, bunny rabbit wakes up to the sound of a banana, 9 million views, or bunny rabbit discovers he is an orphan, you know, 26 million views or something crazy like that. Yeah, if I wanted to be rich, I would start a channel on bunny rabbits for my cute kids. But I feel like you need to know these things. And that's why I put this stuff out there. You need to know what's going on. My proposition is to help you keep your eyes wide open and head on a swivel so you know what's coming at you. And this is part of it. And they're claiming this is going to go on for 60 days. It could go right past election up to the inauguration and thereafter. I don't know how they can sustain it all that time full. I kind of doubt that. Is this organization big enough? A lot of questions. I don't know. Don't have the answers. All I can tell you is here's an organization, here's a website, and here's the events they plan. They've got planned events. They're right there on the website. You can see it for yourself. refusefascism.org. You know, that may be a cool organization, you know, in terms of nonviolence. I don't know. You don't know. You know, there are violent groups. You know, I do not support KKK. I do not support any group that wants to excuse racism or violence. And I think you get that from both sides. And I'm not for that. Okay? I am for people prepping, for people getting ready, taking care of their families, and people defending their rights and freedoms. I am for that. And by such measure, I'm not exactly for the governor of Virginia, if you know what I mean. So read into that what you will. I do not stand on his side. I stand on the other side of the Virginians. So there we go. Enough said. Everyone, be careful. It's getting crazy out there. It can get crazier. This year has been the nutball year, and it seems to get crazier every week. So by that measure alone, this could get crazier because a lot of people had their expectations around this election, and there's like all this pent-up energy, and it could all come out in spite of the fact that maybe they might be able to see us backfiring. It may be that the rose-colored glass tint is so thick, they just don't see that. They just keep going. So you tell me, what do you think? You think I'm entirely wrong? Say so in the comments. Anyway, have fun. Have an awesome weekend if you can. This is a holiday weekend. I hope you have a really good Labor Day holiday weekend. I will be going to the farmers market tomorrow. I'll do a live session at the farmers market. I had planned to do a session on that mint, mystery mint. I'll have to do that next week. I just hadn't had time to do the video. I've been really busy. I will do a video on from Dog Days Flea Market. Probably Sunday, maybe a lot earlier. And if you have watched this video to this point, say, hey, Greg, indeed, the pen is mightier than the sword, but keep it off your head. Something like that. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I hope everyone stays safe and has a wondrous Labor Day weekend. And I'll say goodbye.